Hello beauties, welcome to your midweek, welcome to wherever you are at this moment in time. And aren't we all in a variation, in a flux, in a transition of who we are in one moment and who we are in the next? We are forever changing and evolving and transforming. And sometimes we can feel like we're actually being quite stagnant, that we're not moving forward at the pace that we'd like to. We're not seeing the results that we most desire. Yet I want to reassure you that the transformation is happening, my friends. Happening all around us, within us, most importantly within us. So welcome to this beautiful hour of ceremony, spirit and energy. My name is Jen Magenta Moon and I'm really happy to be here. I was feeling into today and having a chat with spirit and saying, what are we best to share? What's going to be of most service to those who are out there at the moment, striving and battling their own existence, their own goals, their own dreams. So before I get into what I received and what we're going to dive into today, I'm just going to open up some beautiful sacred space as we do every week so that we can fully immerse ourselves energetically into this. And we're inviting anyone in that might pop into the live at any point, might watch the replay later on, just so that we are in this sacred, shamanic, energetically charged space and we know that we're getting the best downloads, the best energetic transmission that's good for us, that's in our highest and greatest good. So if you'd like to join me for a moment, bring that little bit of ceremony into your week. Let's start by inviting and welcoming in the spirits of the East and that beautiful energy of water. Water is surrounding me here where I live in Wanji. I am on this tiny peninsula surrounded by the huge Lake Macquarie. I was fortunate enough to go out onto Lake Macquarie yesterday on my partner's boat, and it was magical, it was majestic, it was so still. We were meandering around bays that neither of us had seen before. We kept hopping off and exploring, and it was just one of those moments in time that I went, this is what life is about for me. This is one of my most joyous things to do, is to explore and adventure and be witness to nature. So I honor beautiful water today. We woke up this morning and the rain was falling down, and it just feels like we're being cleansed, like there is a washing. Ashe. Now when I say ashe, I've been asked this a few times to describe what I'm talking about. It's a feminine term that's used within the women's circles. Aho is the masculine term used within the male circles, and it is an acknowledgement. It is a I see you, I hear you, I feel you, I respect you, I resonate with you, I honor you. So when we are utilizing these, I use it as a way of acknowledging that direction and that element, and also signaling that I am complete with that and I'm moving on to the next. So now I would love to invite in, welcome the beautiful spirits of the north and the energy of air. The wind was kind to us yesterday, allowing that glass-like surface of the lake to welcome us. I'm certainly not a fan of bumpy boat rides and getting whipped in the face by wind, and it was cold enough as it was. So that wind just allowed us to have stillness, to hear, to be in that expanse and allow in the whispers of the wind and the winged ones. And I really want to share a beautiful sea eagle experience that we had yesterday, and the practicing and the testing of telepathy. Thank you, North and Air and Ashay. Calling in the beautiful spirits of the West and the energy of fire. You know that glorious sun that greets us every day, that provides illumination and warmth and light? I think we do a lot of moon cycles, ceremonies, yet we sort of forget this incredible body that is in the sky, that is our life force, that is helping us to live, to see with clarity. When we use fire, we use it to heat and transform food for our nourishment. We use it to power things, to be active even within our own bodies when we call forth that energy of fire. Here in the Southern Hemisphere, where we're in the middle of winter, we're using it for warmth. It's really beautiful when we start to feel into the elements, what they are, what they bring us, how ginormous they are. So we welcome in fire, we welcome in West. We're creating this container at the moment. We're asking them to be present, to support us as we dive into some spiritual learnings, some sacred space together, some delving into connecting to spiritual guidance and conducting these ceremonies and rituals. It brings us a sense of into ourselves, into this time and place. Ashe. Calling in the South, beautiful spirits of the South and the energy of Earth. You know, it's interesting, I'm not a huge boat person. I like being on land. I really enjoy grounding. And yesterday we're in this sort of small boat and I'm standing up in it, and it's like, wow, I feel like I'm standing on water. And that detachment of Earth, I mean, Earth's deep below us, but it's that appreciation that it gives you when you have something that changes your experience. When you're in that wavy, on the water sensation and you get back on the land, that wow, that appreciation of feeling grounded, of feeling solid in your stance, in yourself. Do you go and use the earth when you don't feel grounded within yourself, when you maybe are going through something? You know, you can call upon that earth energy. You can ground yourself using her energy. And this is part of why I love to share these simple, practical approaches of how we can live this human existence, this conscious experience, just with a few tools, tips, and techniques that just make it that little bit easier. So thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you for your energy, your consciousness, your power, your love. Thank you for being with us today. I call upon that sacred below, again, Mother Earth. I call upon the sacred above, Father Sky, and the sacred in between, the bridge between the physical and the spiritual. This is the place I really love to play in, so that I am welcoming in spirit to work with me all the time, you know, to open up to understanding that I am not alone. We are not alone. That the power of our minds, the energy that we emit, it affects the environment around us. I welcome us in right now. Call yourself fully present from all time, people, places, and events. And call in your guides, your angels, your galactic brothers and sisters, whoever it is that you resonate with. Could be God, it could be Jesus, could be Mother Mary, could be Isis, could be Buddha, could be all of them. I like to keep it pretty open to welcoming in whoever is available and whoever is of unconditionally loving energy. And that's the most important point. We want help from that side, from the right source, from the right energetic frequency. So welcome. One of the beautiful things that I think we've touched on the last couple of weeks, but I want to remind you, I really want to offer some practical things that you can apply to your everyday life today. Of grounding cords. Imagining a grounding cord coming from your root chakra is at the base of your spine, right down into the center of the earth. This is awesome when we're feeling a bit flighty, or we're in our head thinking too much, or we're trying to think about a solution to a problem. We can ground. You know, there's so much information in this earth that if you ground, it's like you're sending down a conductor cord that not only helps you to release any stagnant foreign energy, any energy that's not yours, it also allows that earth energy to come up. Now, what's in that earth energy is not just that sense of foundation, that sense of stability. It is information. If you lose something, imagine pulling a grounding cord down from that into the earth, popping yours down and asking them to connect. Then just calling that image, where is it? Where is it? As soon as I do that, I always find the object. You can do this if you are flying to another location or traveling to another location, and there might be maybe some stress or worry about the trip, or you might be facing some jet lag. You actually pull up your grounding cord and place it down in the place that you're going to before you get there. There's lots of cool tricks to play with. So welcome, my friends. Thank you for joining me live, and thank you for anyone who is enjoying the replay. Now, when I tuned in to connect into what we're all traversing at the moment, there's some pretty big themes that are quite current with many of us. There is a lot of conflict in our environments. I know here in New South Wales, Australia, there are sections that have been locked down again, and we've been pretty lucky here in Oz. Those of you in Melbourne, perhaps not as lucky as us in New South Wales. Yet that lockdown has this energetic impact. Like, we were on Lake Macquarie yesterday, and it's the biggest saltwater lake in the Southern Hemisphere. And where we are in the middle, we're fine, but we boated right to the edge, the southern tip of it, and that's where lockdown commences. So it's not very far from where I reside. And we were getting closer to it, and we could feel the energy start to shift. A weight was coming onto our hearts from that space. And it's quite interesting to feel how it impacts us, how it impacts us as a collective. You know, when we think of conflict, we often think of something that's negative. Yet it doesn't have to be. Conflict can create catalysts, and catalysts are things that make us change. And as I think I opened today with the premise that we are forever changing, no matter how stagnant we are. So how can we strive and battle with positivity, without hatred and bitterness? This is what the invitation is now. Because you can't control what's happening out there. You can't control when we're locked down, people's reactions to it, people's reactions to and beliefs around what we should be doing to prevent it, whether it's polluted, that things are happening in our bodies. There's so much conflicting views and opinions. And I find myself personally wanting to remove myself from taking the heavy-sided. I know in myself my decision. So when we think about what we're facing at the moment, that it is a patriarchal energy. Patriarchal is controlling. It is forward aggressive movement. It is asserting itself. It might appear very intelligent, very in control, and it comes across as quite intimidating. We're in the turnover, the crux point of shifting from one paradigm to another. This in itself, you know, when you go through a change, when you have identified yourself as something with certain beliefs, certain morals, behaviors, ideas, a purpose, and something happens that shatters that. It could be you've lost a job that really held a lot of importance to you. It gave you a purpose. It was your title. It could be a relationship. It could be a project that you're working on, and all of a sudden some of the foundational basis of it has collapsed for one reason or another, and it leaves you feeling a little bit helpless, a little bit disillusioned. That's kind of what's happening on a mass scale at the moment. That people don't know where to turn to for direction. We're very used to being controlled, even if we don't want to think we are. There is so much in our society, in our culture, that tells us what to do, how to be, how to think, how to act, what to believe, what to buy, what to put in our bodies, and how to speak our truth. So all of this is being tested now. You know, there is weakness and corruption all beginning to show itself. And yes, this is in our external environment, but again, we don't have control over that. All we have control over is what's in here. So when we see these things of weakness, corruption, oh, they're trying to control us, they're intimidating us with this, and we should take a stand. By all means, take whatever stand you feel is right. But I want you first and foremost is to turn all of that back into yourself. Where do you feel weakness in you? Where do you feel like you're corrupting yourself or potentially others? Where do you try and assert control, appear intelligent, intimidate yourself or others? This is how we start to foster a new paradigm. Because the new paradigm starts with each and every one of us becoming much clearer, much more cohesive with ourselves. It's about stopping the fight within. I've had an interesting few days, and I had news that sent me into an emotional reaction. And the emotional reaction was big. It was big, with lots of crying, sobbing, speaking to whoever was listening, my guides, my higher self, going, I am done with that cycle. Have you guys ever got to that point before? Where you are literally sick of getting to a point and it's just like, I do not have space to face this again. This changes now. So in the height of that emotion, I was smiling on the inside because I knew that this was my catalyst, that this was my pivotal point for things to shift and change. This is one of the beautiful things about spiritual growth that I have witnessed and love, is that I find bliss in the darkest of places now, that I can see why they happen, that they are happening for us, not to us. So I allowed all of that emotion to come. I allowed the anger to come out. it's funny, my partner had said a few weeks ago, you know, I think you should just go into the forest and scream. And I'm like, I don't feel like I've got anything to scream about. Like, I'm not angry. And again, I feel like this is quite a spiritual person thing where we don't get angry because we sort of figure out why we're feeling the way we are and we justify it, and we don't want to project anger onto other people because again, it's all a reflection of what's going on in here. And so this exertion, this expression of this emotion felt so cathartic, felt so good. And, you know, even though I felt puffy-eyed from crying and exhausted, I just went, that was good. That was really needed. And this is us breaking down our own inner stuff. You know, this news made me have to dismantle things that I thought were solid within me. The particular plans I had, particular things that were manifesting goals, they felt so disabled, destabilized by someone else's circumstances. And it's like, well, they weren't that solid anyway, if they were relying on that. And this has happened for a reason. I've created this for a reason. So I'm going to allow this emotion to come through, and I'm going to pick myself up on the other side. So I've been speaking a lot this morning already about the issues, you know, that we are facing this conflict within ourselves. We are facing a change in the structure of the paradigm that we exist in, that there are teething issues with that, that as we start to birth the new, the old fights for survival. And, you know, there's a lot of talk about lockdown happening all the time here, just before school holidays, just before people will be like, I can finally go and have a break and do something. And instead they're forced within, that control comes in. It's not a very nice feeling, is it? To feel controlled. What do you want to do when you feel controlled? You want to break out and do everything of the opposite. So what's our solutions? What's the practical approach that we can take? And I want to open up the floor to you guys to offer some psychic readings, some live channeling today, if that's what you would desire. As I keep speaking, feel into where are you at with this internal conflict? You know, what is the resistance that you're fighting against within yourself? Feel free to ask questions. I'll get into the chat box in a little bit. Thank you for those who are present. I really appreciate all your love heart showers. So, do you consider yourself as magic? Do you even think magic is real? One of my favorite moments of my life, you know, I loved fantasy books, magic books. My whole growing up, I would just drink them in. And there was a moment where I realized the reason why I resonated with them so much was because they're all real. That this was all things I'd experienced in other lifetimes, that magic is energy at work. It's just because we can't necessarily see it with the physical eyes that, it's magic. Art, magic. It is a spiritual energy flowing through our beings, our bodies. This is how we access this part of us. When we feel like we've been stagnant, and I know we've all felt that, things aren't happening as quickly as they should. I really had this goal to have this thing done by now. This person's not showing up for me the way I need them to be able to move forward with this. Or I just don't want to do anything today. I don't want to exercise. I don't want people to tell me what I need to do. I just want to eat all the food in the house. I want to binge watch something that entertains me and distracts me. And yes, I know it's not being productive, And sometimes we need that. And I find at the time when we do those things, it can feel okay, but it's the aftermath that can have the problem, where we feel like we wasted time, that we're not showing up for ourselves, for others. And I guess one of the biggest things I'd love to impart on you today, on you at any time, is the need to take care of our beings, of these human vessels that rest, that balance, that play, that stillness, that activity, that all of it in moderation is so important. And that when you are rejuvenating and recharging your batteries, that is not a failure. That when dreams don't come to fruition, that goals had to change, that things that you thought were so set in your world dissolve, crumble, and need to be reformed, that is a win. That the more you are flexible and adaptable to the changes that are occurring within you and in your environment, that is you growing and evolving as a soul. And that if you can take just one of the practical tools or tips or techniques that I've ever offered and apply it to your world and it makes a difference, then I've succeeded in my mission in my life. That I've helped another, that I have been of service. Now, I know many of you are starseeds, are spiritually awake, are going through your own journeys of awakenings and activations, and they come in all colors and all sizes. And I know most of you feel a desire to serve. And I know also most of you don't know if you can show up and serve a lot of the time because you're going through your own healing journey. You're going through your own awakening process and it's shattering you apart into a million pieces and you're just waiting to go, well, how do I put this back together? But that's what you teach. You know? When I don't want to show up, that's when I've got to show up the most. So I want you to know today you are magic. That what flows through you, this energy that flows through you, just needs permission to be activated and let loose to transform your world. So your creativity, your imagination, this is what you'll use. This is the fabric of how to find what you love, what passions, what you can do to bring it out into a space of service in this world. But we have to get out of our own way. We have to stop resisting ourselves, stop fighting ourselves in order to tap into that. When I was speaking with Spirit this morning, they were talking about attachments. Now, attachments is something that is a word that's kind of thrown around in the spiritual community that is deemed as something negative. And again, there's actually can be a positive spin on this. I think the higher our perspective is, it gives us that ability to look at all sides of things and decide where we want to feed off today. What does our soul need from that? Because we're sort of taught we shouldn't have any attachments, we shouldn't be attached to other people, things, titles, beliefs, thoughts, purpose. That it's all an illusion, you know? And on one hand, yes, it is. This 3D reality is an illusion. However, it feels pretty real, huh? And we could kind of spiritual bypass our whole lives. We're going, well, it's just an illusion, whatever, it doesn't matter. But how about we use this illusion, this experience of our reality, you know, what we're physically feeling, these real emotions, these real thoughts that dominate our heads, and turn it around. Turn it around so that we can open up more and access more. We can be attached to our nature, our morals, beliefs, people, relationships, ideas, our purpose. But we could also be attached to our deep spiritual awareness. And when we're attached to that, it kind of surpasses all of those and allows us to have a higher perspective on all of those. It allows us to question our own morals, our own ideas, beliefs, the relationships we are in. Do they all serve us? Is that who we now are? Because I know I'm always speaking from my truth, but my truth of today may not be my truth of tomorrow. That doesn't mean I lied yesterday. That doesn't mean I'm a bad person if my truth changes. It means I'm living in my integrity and my authenticity now. So many of us hold back from sharing our message, our truth, what we feel so passionate about, just in case it's wrong. But who's it wrong to? To you? Because you're going to change your mind tomorrow, or you're going to have a new level of understanding or another level of activation and spiritual awakening that's going to inform you of a new perspective. That's awesome. But by expressing and sharing, you are being of service right now, not only to everyone that may witness that, but to yourself, because you are showing up, you're expressing from your soul. That is what's important. That's what's important to be attached to, is your spiritual awareness and being open to the divine inspired action that gets you to do the thing you came here to do. What have you experienced in your life? What's the hardest thing you've ever gone through? That, my friend, is something that you could help countless others with by literally simply speaking of your story, of your experience. You help someone else to feel like they're not alone going through what they're going through. Everyone relates to stories because it picks up on their own story. So what story can you tell? Tell it. Tell it in any way that feels good for you. It might be drawing a picture. It might be writing a story. It might be turning up live on social media. It might be writing a letter to one person. Whatever it is, I encourage you to step into this. This is what a healthy attachment is. A healthy attachment to yourself, to your truth, to who you are showing up as. When we think of attachment, we could think of anchoring. It's kind of a nicer word, I think. Attachment feels like, oh, I need that thing. Anchoring feels like, oh, I'm here doing my biz and I'm friggin' solid in it. When we imagine a tree, we think of it anchored into the ground, right? Not attached. I guess it is attached to the ground, but technically you could pull it out. But it's anchored, it's deeply rooted. When we start to use the medicine of the tree, we anchor ourselves, we send that grounding cord down, we send our roots down, we stabilize, we anchor into this time, this place, this purpose, this vision, this idea. What do you want to share? What's your story? Anchor into it. Own it. Own it with all its levels of grit. Maybe it has shame or humiliation or guilt or grief interwoven into it. I work with so many clients that have such incredible stories. And then we do our shamanic healing, our shamanic journeys on them, and they unravel that emotional attachment that's got them so scared or held within that story. they're able to be lifted out of it and they can see it for the gift that it was. This has given them the courage, the energy, the ability to go and then share it. And those emotions might still be alive within them, but it's not stopping them anymore. It's not putting shackles on them and stopping them from showing and anchoring into it to be able to help, to be of service with it. Again, think of the tree, the roots in the ground, the branches up, facing upwards, calling in the sun, calling in that illumination, calling in knowledge, light, understanding. This is why we connect to Source. You know, Source isn't necessarily up above us. It's not necessarily in the heavens, in the clouds, in the middle of the universe up there. It is everywhere. But when we look at the chakra systems, we've got the physical chakras on the base, the spiritual, energetic ones above. So it's that, again, that tree mentality, that tree analogy. When we use this to anchor into ourselves, it helps us to show up, to remind ourselves that whatever we're thinking, we can rise above it. That when the stories come of, oh, no one's going to listen to me, I don't know, that's not fun, I'm going to be judged. It's just, who's going to benefit from that? I don't feel like I could show up today because I just don't feel like I look good. All of the bullshit that we tell ourselves of why we can't show up, this is when you have to anchor into your soul. Do you know how powerful you are? Do you know how strong and magic and amazing your brain is? Your energy? I want to share the eagle story now. So we'd come into this little bay. It's called Sugar Bay. Very sweet. It was very sweet. We're just puttering along, looking at the beautiful massive boats and everyone's beautiful lakeside homes. And I saw this one home that just felt magical. I just could feel the energy emanating off the land. And as we kept going along, it just went into this beautiful nature area. And it's like, we've got to pull up there. So we got out, went for a little walk and just felt the land. And it spoke. It spoke to us of just, the trees were happy, the animals were happy, there was energy on that land, and it's like, we're remembering this spot and coming back. When we got back into the boat and we were going around, this beautiful big seagull just swooped low above us and into the branch right near us. And the boat engine wasn't going at that point, so we just gently paddled and came so close to it just to watch it. And so I started speaking to it in my mind, saying, thank you, you're so beautiful. I was wondering, would you please show us your beautiful feathers today? We'd just love to see how beautiful you are in flight. And so for the next 10 minutes, it would fly between branch and branch, about 20 meters or so, allowing us to follow it and to show itself to us. Now, some of you may think, well, that's just a coincidence. I know the power of my thoughts. My beautiful fur child, Elkie, is getting really deaf. She can't hear me the way she normally would. And so I'm now just speaking to her a lot in my mind. And when I hear her crying, because she'll meow now of like, where is everyone? I've lost you. I remember being with you just a second ago, but I can't remember where you are. She's almost 18, so she's, I think, getting a little bit geriatric. I just picture where I am and show her with me, and she's with me in a few minutes later. We can do this with people, with animals, with butterflies, with plants. This is animism. This is speaking to the spirit in all things. And when you understand that our brains have this capacity, that there is many historical findings from ancient times where telepathy was quite well used. We just have lost the practice of it. We need to practice things in order to build them up. And I'm pretty sure I've spoken about this many times, that my capacities to speak to spirit the way I do, feel as connected as I do, didn't just happen overnight. You know, I wasn't someone who was born seeing spirits and being able to see them straight away. I always felt them. But I've spent a lifetime of developing these things, of understanding, of studying ceremony, ritual, shamanic practices in order to develop these things, because it's a passion of mine. I love it. So I would love to set a little task, a little exercise for you guys over the next week of practicing some telepathy. Whenever you're around an animal, I think animals are a great one to start with because they have ability to feed back. Could be a butterfly, could be a grasshopper, could be your dog, could be an animal that you're not familiar with, could be the birds. Become still in your being, physically, emotionally, mentally, and start projecting to them. You can speak it in words in your mind, but telepathy, like communication from spirit, mostly works in the transmission of pictures, emotions, feelings. It's got such a bigger, broader ability than our ability just to speak with verbally. So you can, if you see a butterfly, tell it how beautiful it is, thank it. You want to express that love and that gratitude so that the energetic vibration going to it is one of peace, is one of love. And you want to then imagine it coming and landing on you, near you, on a specific flower, something like that. It's a really fun game to play, and I'd love for you to share if you have any amazing experiences. I love animals. They can teach us so much. You know, they're at what's called the second density of consciousness, before self-awareness, which is the third density. And I think that's why I love them so much. They don't operate from ego, yet some of the higher level second density animals do express emotions. Like, I see my cat having emotional reactions to things. I've seen many dogs, many animals. They are sentient beings. They feel, they think, they act on drive, from fear, from desire. Another aspect of attachment is independence. You know, when we are, and again, there's two sides of this coin. Being independent can be amazing. I can do everything myself. I don't need anyone. Yet we then close ourselves off from others, from their help, from their openness, from their desire to give, being open to that receiving. I know I lived like that for a very long time. Lived from that mentality of I needed to do it myself. I needed to prove something. Not sure who to, probably to myself. And I wouldn't let people in. You know, I think that's why I actually got into event management. I remember in my early 20s when I'd go to clubs and stuff, and I would gravitate to the staff. I would gravitate to those running the show because that's what felt safe to me. And when I got into event management, it meant I could control things and lead things and not have to be open to the social interaction of general events because I had a job to do. It's very isolating. And now it's like, can we all step back from that negative polarity of independence and welcome in the working with others, opening our hearts to others. Because I know you've all experienced hurtfulness at some time, where our heart hurts. Someone's disappointed, saddened, angered us in some respect. And you immediately pull back. You don't want to step forward and open your heart more because it might get hurt again. And it's a reframing of this. I got hurt and I understand where that hurt was, and thank you for teaching me that. I would not like to experience that again, but I'm going to step forward again with that heart open to see what the next opportunity for me to grow is. The positive polarity of independence is when we are not subject to social pressure, to fashionable ideas. You know how when we're on social media, there's a trend of something going around, there's an opinion that everyone seems to be having. Like I just got sent by 10 people this petition to sign. And it's like really checking in. Is this my truth? How I feel about this? Am I being subject to manipulation here? Is this social pressure? Is this a cause I want to get behind and I believe in? Independence has its place, just like attachment, and just like the positive polarity of conflict, where we're battling and striving without hatred and bitterness. Because sometimes life is going to be a battle. It's not all sunshine and lollipops, and I don't think we'd want it that way. You know, in the movie The Matrix, where they said, oh, we tried to create a society for humans that was all good, but they all decided to malfunction because they actually need polarity. We need something to have friction against, to understand who we are and where we stand, what we believe in, which avenue and path we want to take. And it all comes down to what is the level of abundance that you can understand that you exist within at all times? What is the level of joy that you can hold within your being, even when you are sobbing and screaming at spirit to fix things? Can you operate from a space of gentleness, of calmness, of understanding the beauty that surrounds us, even when there's that darkness of chaos threatening from every side? When we can come from a sensual nature, devoted to our growth, our spiritual awareness, when we're able to hold a sense of self anchored into ourselves, we stop being shakeable. We stop being bowled over by someone else's circumstance. It helps us to hold ourselves in a place that broadens our perspective. Because when we close down from pain, from fear, it narrows our view. We get tunnel view. There's a point, there's a reason why our beings do that. It's a safety mechanism. It stops us being distracted from everything else out there, and it's like, where am I going to get safe? And that's where I'm going. And so our perspective narrows. We get tunnel view so that we can just get to that point of being safe again. Do you want to live with tunnel view? I don't think I do. I really don't enjoy it. On those days where it feels like I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know how to get past this mood or emotion or darkness or whatever it is, and there's no kind of way out. Yet the next day the next hour, the next minute, whenever it is that shifts and my perspective goes shoo, or I do a little ceremony or ritual, or I meditate, or I channel some spiritual guidance, whatever it looks like. Sometimes I need to seek help from others. You know, see my psychic friends, medium friends, shamanic friends. Sometimes I need help to get out of it too. That it just opens up, things color again. You know how Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz goes from her black and white world into the full color spectrum of the land of Oz? They're kind of like that. I had a really amazing client session the other day where they kept showing us the Wizard of Oz characters skipping us down the yellow brick road. I'm like, they just keep staying here. I'm not quite sure what the message is. I went, hang on a second. What do the characters represent? We've got the Scarecrow, who's scared, and he's trying to, what is he trying to do? Get a brain. The Tin Man, who is wanting a heart, and the Lion, who's wanting courage. Courage, heart, intelligence. That's what we're being called to show up in. If we can find our guides who can help us with that, imagine ourselves skipping down that yellow brick road to the land of Oz. We're getting there. Working with ceremony, spirit, and energy it's fun. And it also comes with its hurdles and its obstacles, because it shows us what we've got in our own way. Not what someone else has done and, oh, they need to be punished or forgiven or whatever. It shows us what we're holding within us. And that's what I want to help with, however I can, to whoever I can. I'm going to check into the chat box. I feel very fluid today. Still very, I think still coming from the lake energy yesterday. That beautiful gentleness, yet power that water has. Hello, Scott. Majestic Jenny's renamed me. It's very cute. Stasia. Hello, gorgeous. Hi, Sean and Rima and Shelley. Oh, hi, beautiful. Oh, Michelle. Sean. Okay, Scott is saying, I think my spirit decided to stay in the upper realm. Don't blame the bugger after our session last week. Fair enough. We had a very powerful session with Scott last week. He's been working with me almost for a year now. And it's really awesome having that ongoing relationship and seeing how spirit takes us, you know, the trust that's developed there. And yeah, we tapped into some really, really cool things. Shakira, my contract for work is coming to an end soon, and I would love some guidance on where to look and what to do. And also I am in Mullumbimby and would love to know how best to use the energies here whilst doing Codes of Destiny. Love you, Jen Magenta Moon. All right, I'm going to tap into Shakira's energy. Had dinner with this beautiful woman last week, which is a pleasure. We hadn't met in person before. She's been traveling up the East Coast. Shakira, I'm seeing this almost like a brick wall made of blue bricks that is showing me an aquatic environment on the other side. So it's like you're standing on the outside of this and you can't see through it. And, you know, that analogy of banging your head against a brick wall. So, and the opposite side, like on the other side, they're giving me beautiful water analogies today. there is so much life. There is an abundance of fish and aquatic creatures like floating through there, and it's colorful and it's vibrant. But you're standing on the other side dry and kind of like, what do I do next? So they're showing just like a tap, tap, tap on this brick wall, and the whole thing's going to crumble, and you're going to be flooded with this energy, with this information, with this life that's possible for you. And when we go through into that, you know, I see you swimming around like a mermaid, happy and moving your body. Like, I know how important dance is to you. So it's tapping into this community. They're showing me the schools of fish that you can graduate to, that you can swim with and move with. It's like things are more open there than they have been in Melbourne for you. It's like finding different communities and different people to connect to that are going to start to open up doorways for you there to help you to build friendships and build community. And they're showing me you like up in a tree, almost like a tree house. And it's like you've got a beautiful place to stay that is higher up, and it has these trees around you. It feels quite small, but it feels really cozy and safe. I just see them putting this little princess crown on you. Oh, this feeling of waiting, you know, I feel like you are so ready, so ready for that action, so ready for the, all right, I'm here, I've done it, I've got here. And there's that pause button that's still depressed. Oh, it's like, I want to suggest to you to press it and unpause it, and they're like kind of just holding your finger back for a moment. It's almost like land. Just land there for the moment. Reach out, put the feelers out, connect, book in some things. Book in a workshop, or go to a meditation circle, or see if there's any women's circles, dancing things, something that's going to give you an opportunity of something to look forward to. Ground there, connect into the land there. Speak to the land, let them know that you've arrived. Give them your intention. You know, send that grounding cord down. You might want to write it out first, but speak it and send it down and ask for it to connect to the right people, the right places, the right opportunities, the right circumstances, and get your energy aligned to receive that. This is beautiful because it really brings home this idea of you're not striving, you're not like trying to battle your way into this. You need to be in your feminine to receive this. So you just need to be very clear and state what it is that you want to receive. What does it look like and feel like? The feeling is much more important than what it looks like. How do you want to feel? How do you want to feel when you wake up in the morning, when you meet your new friends for coffee, when you go to the beautiful dance thing that someone's put on, when you host something yourself? What does it feel like? Start crafting this with conscious intention. Oh, and it's beautiful, Shakira. It is beautiful because you manifest this. You send out the energetic tendrils of this, and it is created. It is coming into fruition. If you can imagine it, it's real. I hope that helps. Okay. Scott, yes, magic is real. We see it every day in life and dismiss it as just life. True. I fully intend to have developed a telepathic ability with a couple of similar people before I get to go home. I truly believe I can achieve that. I agree. I think we should set up some telepathy practice times where we send people imagery or messages and see if they get it. That could be a good thing to do. Stasia, I believe in magic. I believe my entire life is magical. I made today a goddess day. Oof, even started today with a full body massage. Yes, that's it. Create this magic. Oh, Goddess Day. I want to know more about this Goddess Day, Stasia. I think we should implement this and share it and make it a thing where we all focus in on the goddess aspect within us. This could go for males as well. You know, they need to develop that inner divine feminine aspect to help them to break down the aspects of the patriarchy that don't serve them as well. Perfect. I love it. Hi, Noni. Hi. Hi, Shamila. Shamila, hi, Jen. I've moved to a new country, currently faced with a work visa dilemma. If I do not find appropriate work, I have to leave this country and I won't be allowed to stay for long. Any messages, guidance you are getting, would really appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to tune in, Shamila. Ooh, they're showing me you sitting at the bottom of a well, and that's what you're feeling like. And it feels like that tunnel vision again, you know, when you're sitting at the bottom of a well and you're looking out and all you can see is this little bit of sky and you're like, there's nothing here for me. And now they're showing me you finding these footholds on either side of the well, and it's quite narrow, so you're kind of putting one leg here, one leg, and you're climbing out. That you have the ability to climb out of this. And when you reach the top and you look out, it's like you are seeing this new vista for the first time. I'm seeing this really busy market street area. It feels quite ancient time, actually. Like, I'm even getting ancient Egypt. Not ancient Egypt. Like there's buildings there, dark-skinned people, and people on on vehicles that I don't actually recognize. Interesting. And it's busy and you're sort of popping out into this, and I'm wondering if I've tapped into a past life of yours at the moment, Shamila. Past or future? No, past. It's like got this primitive aspect, yet this really high technology, technological advanced vehicles that are just moving soundlessly, and then you've got kind of weird other vehicles that are making a lot of noise. So when you're coming out into this, what I'm seeing for you is that you are seeing this space and just being in awe. It's like, oh my gosh, I've popped out into a new world. Okay, it's that new world. You need to see this from a space of new eyes, of new perspective, that perhaps what you've been doing in the past isn't what you're meant to do in this new place. That this could be a new version of you being born in this new place. That to now look around at this new world with the perspective of, how could I serve? What could I do to be of assistance? What is my assignment in this place? I also invite you to ground into the place that you're in. Set those intentions and send it into the earth there. Go, right, I'm in receivership, but take divine inspired action. You know, there is lots of messages coming for you at the moment. But if you are only having that tunnel view of, I have to do the thing that I know how to do, and if I don't get that job, then I'm not going to get a job and I'm going to not be able to stay. No, it's like there is a new way forward for you. And I feel like you're looking like, I've got to go down this path, but it's like I see you walking, going around a detour and then coming back, and you actually are really aligned with something that lights you up, that you're passionate about, that you're really good at. But at first it might not look that way. You know, it could be that you have to work in the job for a few months in a specific area or role that doesn't feel quite as high as you normally would be able to do, but you are so fast tracked there because they value you and they see what you're able to do. It could be a company or a business that doesn't look like they would do the thing that you're good at, yet you didn't realize that they have a whole area or a whole department that would really benefit from your skills. It just might be titled something differently. So it's this idea of seeing this as though it's a whole new world. You know, I'm getting the Aladdin song, a whole new world. So take that on. And again, feel into this. What's the feeling that you want when you get to work? What's the feeling that you have when you are able to work in a team or with clients or whatever it looks like for you that lights you up, that feels fulfilling, that feels joyous? This is what you want to communicate to the earth, communicate to spirit now. And every morning, wake up and feel that feeling before you go into the worry of, oh my God, I don't have a job and I need a visa. Really harness this, because that is what's going to create and manifest this new world for you. I hope that helps, Shamila. Sean, magic is everywhere. Just look around at nature. Magical experiences happen right before our eyes. It really does. Scott, events is the coolest way to isolate in very public way so it doesn't appear we are isolating 20 plus years of it. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know you know what I mean. Noni, interdependence as opposed to codependence. Still learning this. Yes. And it's very interesting in relationships, in this new realm of conscious relationships where we are, oh, I am well over time. Sorry, guys. I'm going to keep going because I'm on a tangent. Conscious relating is not about blaming the other person for how you feel or needing them to bolster you. It is about knowing that they're your mirror and they're going to show you everything that you need to work on in you. And that when something comes up that you think's totally them, that's the time to go, oh my gosh, what is it about me that I feel like that with? And I know I've spoken about this before. It's the turnaround. So if I am frustrated at someone about something, how is that I'm frustrated in myself in? When we, like my partner and I don't live together. And so there's times when I'm like, I wish we did and we'd spend more time together. And then there's other times I'm like, I love it. I love waking up in my own energy, being able to do my morning practices, having a good night's sleep. You know, my cat sleeps with me every night. So 3 in the bed. And the little one said, meow, move over. Can be a little bit much sometimes. So there's this point sometimes when I miss him and I miss having him around and I want more time. Yet instead of going into that space of want, I try and transform that into the space of look at what I already have. Look at the gratitude of the situation, the love that I do feel, the appreciation of when we do get time together. Yeah, codependence versus interdependence. It's a big one. Maybe we'll do another session on relationships. Shakira, wow, thank you, Jen. That was amazing. Hi, Tina. Scott, I've been asking Spirit to show me the house I'm meant to be in, so I immediately recognize it in the future, but nothing yet. Do they have a description they can give you? I know we talked about this last week. Oh, my loves. All right, I'm going to go for another 10 minutes and try and get through everyone's comments. Yeah, I'm totally getting a house for you, Scott. I feel like I almost need to draw it. It's quite specific. It's very cute from the front. It has a real cottage kind of look, and walkway goes up the center, and there's a door, and there's sort of a red brick ledge with white wood, and there's these kind of curved panelings around the front of the balcony, and there's like a small balcony in front before you get to the front door. A window either side of the front door, white lace curtains, a red, what do you call that thing, gutter thing, and red tiled roof. The bricks are quite deep red colour. There's these green shrubs in the beginning. It feels really welcoming. It has that real, this is my home. But I'm not picking up where it is at the moment. I can just see it. I'll try and draw you a picture later. Tina, I'm going to do a quick future reading. I love this. Tina's an amazing psychic medium. But I think we both experience sometimes it's not as easy to read for ourselves as it is to get readings from others. There's a very different way of getting the information, and we're so biased and entangled in ourselves that it's not as easy to have just a clear transmission. Okay, Tina. They're showing me you with a witch's hat riding a broomstick, which for me speaks of you are like on the journey, babe, but you're on this like magical journey and you are cackling and laughing and you've got Isis, her cat, on the back of the broomstick, but she's black because, you know, witches need black cats. Very cute. And they're just seeing, like, they're showing me you riding into this, just stars, into the cosmos. And it just feels this expansiveness of like, you're here, you've got it, you're doing it. Oh. They're showing me you pulling out this little pouch and undoing the straps, and it's like, it's got stardust in it. Now, many years ago, I did a journey and was taken to visit this astral shaman who gifted me with some gifts. One of them being a pouch of stardust. So this feels very aligned to that. And what this astral shaman spoke to me at the time was that this stardust is effectively what you are emanating when you share your message, when you share what you are here to teach. That to imagine stardust coming out of your mouth and being able to travel and reaching those that it needs to reach. So it's that, again, that sense of magic, that sense of you're here to do really big things, and to know that what you speak and that your messages are touching many lives. Okay, the other message they're giving me is that like, I know you're teaching the Ayeria Mystery School at the moment, so a lot of energy and focus is going into that, but they still want you to be sharing your message and speaking out in a public forum just to continue that connection. It's like those stardust pieces need to reach other people to help draw them into your school. So maybe doing another live this week, because I'm seeing you speak in front of camera and all this stardust coming out of your mouth. I hope that helps. Rima, I'd love a reading about going full time on my soul purpose. Okay. They're bringing me up to the crown chakra, and it's almost like they're opening up the top of the lid of the head and pouring in all these books of knowledge. So I feel like you're in a learning state at the moment, that you're bringing in knowledge. And I'm encouraged to remind you that sometimes we feel like we're never finished, that we're never, we don't know enough to do the thing that we think we're supposed to do. And I think I've spoken about this earlier today. It's just, you need to show up as you are now whilst continuing to learn, and it will continue to inform the work. That by starting out small, by just doing the little thing now, it's going to start to give you evidence. It's going to start to help to inform you of how your soul work looks, what you're here to do. Because you can keep bringing theoretical about it and keep bringing in more information and learning this, and oh, I got to do that certificate, no, I should learn off this teacher. But it's like you need to actually put it out into a practical, like tangible thing for you to go, oh my gosh, I did that thing. I created it, and look, that's how it felt. That's how it worked. Oh, I could look at it from this perspective now, and I could tweak it that way, and it will create the next thing. So yeah, it's like putting too much in there makes it not yours. You know, you need to spend time in your, I call this a high information diet or a low information diet. Sometimes I'm in the place where I just want to keep bringing things in, and I've always got a podcast or a YouTube video, or I'm reading this, or I'm in this other course and I'm bringing in all this stuff. And other times it's like, no, I just need to turn the volume down on that. Especially in different parts of my personal cycle is when I'm open to high information and need to close that down. So I hope that helps. I'm just getting the message, just start. What is the littlest thing that you can do today to start you doing that soul work that you're here to do in the world? Okay. Beautiful. I think I've got through everyone. Yay. Whoop. Thanks for joining me today, guys. I'm sorry I've gone over a little bit of time. Our live lunch hour for Ceremony, Spirit and Energy felt really nice today. I really appreciate you being here. And for those of you catching the replay, I hope you enjoyed this sacred time together. I'm going to close down our sacred space, and I'll be again on next week, and then we'll reevaluate and we'll see what is called from there. Just a reminder to any of you beautiful ladies out there who would like to join me for my free Shamanic activation workshop that is being held on Sunday, July 25th. Even if you can't make it live, I'd highly recommend registering, and then you'll be able to access the replay. I'll pop the link into the description of this live a little later on. And obviously I'm available for shamanic sessions, Akashic reading, record readings, whole gamut of things if you wanted to journey a bit more deeply into your own personal experience at the moment. I'd love to hear from you. Just PM me. All right, loves, giving great thanks to you, to our guides, to the ancestors, angels, our galactic brothers and sisters, giving great thanks to the sacred in between, the sacred below and the sacred above, and we gently close you down. Giving great thanks to earth and south and gently closing you down. Giving great thanks to west and fire and gently closing you down. Giving great thanks to north and air and gently closing you down. And giving great thanks to the east and water and gently closing you down. Thank you, my friends. Have a beautiful week. Oh, Elkie's come to say hello. From us, can you even look at the camera, my love? Yay. We will see you next week. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. I love you a lot. And mwah. Bye.